We knew it would be a quarterback-heavy draft, and oh my gosh, they keep coming off the board. So the first 3 picks were quarterbacks: Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Falcons surprised us by taking Michael Penix Jr. at 8. Then things definitely got interesting. So the Vikings trade up from 11 to 10 with the Jets, and they take JJ McCarthy. And then the Broncos draft Bo Nix. So Dave Richard, we have a lot of quarterbacks to talk about. We already got into the first, I guess you could say the first 4 guys already off the board with Williams, Daniels, and May. We had a separate video on Michael Penix and that crazy situation. JJ McCarthy to the Vikings. I kind of like it, Dave. And then you got Bo Nix going to the Broncos. As we said off air, you astutely pointed out, the Broncos probably felt like they had to get their guy at number 12. And so the 6th quarterback ties a record right now. If anybody goes and gets Spencer Rattler, for example, it would break the record of 7. It would set the record, 7 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. They tied the record already. 1983, there were 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round there. So let's start with McCarthy. So no Kirk Cousins. They made the move to bring in Sam Darnold, and now they make the draft pick to go get McCarthy from Michigan. I don't mind it, Dave. I think he's going to be good in Kevin O'Connell's system. Great weapons to throw to, and Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hockenson. Hopefully he's healthy. JJ McCarthy, does he have the chance to be a number 1 fantasy quarterback in 2024?
There will be weeks where he will be, and I would imagine he will be I don't think it's going to take much to imagine this. It's the question. He'll be the 3rd rookie quarterback taken from in redraft leagues. And I think he's going to get drafted in the majority of leagues. There might be the smaller 8-10 team leagues. Maybe they only go 13 rounds. McCarthy probably won't get drafted there, but people are going to get excited about Caleb. They're going to get excited about Jaden Daniels. And then their mind will wander to Minnesota. And it's JJ McCarthy, who's proven to be a pretty good quarterback who's achieved great things in a pro-style offense at Michigan. And I think that he's NFL capable. I don't know if he's necessarily NFL ready, but more NFL ready than Drake May, my opinion. And you look at the receivers that he's going to throw to and the offensive line he's going to play behind. And the tendency of this head coach to throw the ball like crazy. He did it with Kirk Cousins. You expected that. He did it with Nick Mullins as well. And so now here comes JJ McCarthy. Should be a better quarterback than Nick Mullins, at least. I think he can get the ball. I think this saves the value for all the pass catchers there. It could have been ugly if they didn't end up getting a quarterback, or if more quarterbacks went ahead of them. I think getting JJ McCarthy is a great result. He'll be a late round pick in the majority of leagues in 2024 redraft.
All right, rookie only drafts for dynasty leagues. Let's go super flex. Williams 1. Just stop me if I'm off. Williams 1, Daniels 2, McCarthy 3.
Yeah.
May 4. Skip a billion picks.
Yeah.
Skip a lot of picks. Nix 5,
Nix
Penix
5,
6.
Penix 6. And boy, this really answers the question about, did the Falcons draft Penix to trade him? I don't think so now. Not if the Broncos drafted Bo Nix.
Could be to the Raiders if there's a potential.
Could be. There. We'll see. But it's rare. We practically never see that. Eli Manning was the last time something like that happened.
Yes, but that was
2 decades
on draft night. Where he made us think about it. In any event, so JJ McCarthy, potential third quarterback off the board in rookie only drafts. Let's stay with the Vikings here. So Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hockenson, their value is what now that McCarthy's going to be the starter?
Jefferson is still in that top 5 range. With I think he'll be okay, and I think McCarthy will know better than to go away from him. Should still see a lot of targets in that neighborhood of 9 to 10 per game. There's room for him to move up to be the top wide receiver in fantasy. I'm not going to put him there with McCarthy as his quarterback, but he'll be no worse than 5th. Jordan Addison could get off to a hot start if there's no TJ Hockenson. We know that Hockenson has the injury. So maybe you draft Addison just outside of the top 36 wide receivers. And then Hockenson, he's going to be a value on draft day because there's half the league's not going to want a piece of him because he's injured and you don't know when he's going to play. And the other half will say, cool, I'll take him with a round 9, round 10 pick, wait for him to come back, draft another tight end later. And Hockenson could end up being just fine as a short area target for JJ McCarthy. And McCarthy, when he went over the field, or over the middle of the field, I should say, and he had a lot of touch passes on those throws, they were to his tight end. So I wonder if there's something there brewing where Hockenson can be a reliable safety blankie for JJ McCarthy once Hawkinson's up to speed.
Hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. If you have an IR spot in your fantasy league, it's easier to draft TJ Hawkinson, especially if he's on the pup list to open the season. All right, let's go to Denver now, where Bo Nix is the pick at number 12 overall. There's not going to be a lot of appeal to draft him in redraft leagues. He might end up being a bye week or injury replacement if you're stuck. He'll be a late round pick in super flex leagues as well. It'll be interesting to see if the Broncos go with him as their starter. As we know, they did acquire Zach Wilson. They have Jarrett Stidham, who started the end of the season last year, so a guy who's a little bit familiar in Sean Payton's system. So Bo Nix may not be the week one starter, but you know that the Broncos are going to be itching to get him on the field. The weapons there, not exactly the sexiest group, but Cortland Sutton should stay in Denver. Marvin Mims, Josh Reynolds. We'll see if Greg Dulcich is healthy. So in terms of Sutton and Mims, who will probably be the only Broncos receivers drafted, what's their value now with Bo Nix and the potential of maybe Zach Wilson or Jarrett Stidham starting the season? So we'll see when Nix gets on the field.
I want to give Bo Nix the benefit of the doubt, James. I really do. I want to say Bo Nix is going to elevate these guys, and the way that he played at Oregon, it's just the beginning for him. But we've seen him try and be more of a Superman quarterback than a guy that just follows what the offense asks him to do. And it's not pretty. And maybe that changes, and maybe Sean Payton develops him and he becomes a really good quarterback. But I think he's going to be like a version of what we saw from Russell Wilson, at least as a rookie, where he's going to be fed plays and here's where the ball's supposed to go. Here's where the ball goes if that first read is open. And it's not going to be something that will produce a ton of points for the Broncos and therefore not a ton of fantasy points. I'm skeptical. I'm really skeptical of this Broncos offense being really good, and that's too strong. I'm skeptical of them being solid. Like they could end up being one of the worst offenses in the league between Nix and Wilson. I think Nix is probably the better quarterback at this point. But you mentioned the weapons, you ran them down. We don't even know if Sutton's going to be on the team. If I were Cortland Sutton, I don't know how excited I'd be to be a Denver Bronco right now. I might get to a point pretty quickly here where I just stay away from all Denver Broncos on draft day.
I do think Sutton will end up being a good value pick, just based on the volume that he should get. Did score 10 touchdowns last season. All of them did come with Russell Wilson. So the end of the year when Stidham was starting, it's not like he was connecting with Sutton, but there is still the potential there for him to be a very high volume type of guy in this offense. And then we'll see if Mims can ascend to the number 2 spot. We know they moved on from Jerry Jeudy, trading him to Cleveland. I think it does benefit both Javonte Williams and whoever the number 2 guy is there, whether it's Jaleel McLaughlin or Samaje Perine in that pass catching role, because we saw that last year from the Broncos. A lot of first and second down throws, for example. They'll definitely throw in some obvious passing situations. So Javonte Williams should benefit as a pass catcher there, especially year 2 removed from his ACL tear. But yes, it's not exactly the most encouraging situation that the Broncos had to settle for the 6th of the 6 quarterbacks drafted. So we'll see how this offense looks for Sean Payton in year 2. All right, that'll do it for our quarterbacks here on JJ McCarthy to the Vikings and Bo Nix to the Broncos.